still wait 1 or 2 minutes to give more time for people to join. Should I play some music in the meantime?
Do you know a good Friends song?
Can you sing? Can you sing something, Sipke?
I was asking you.
No. I've never heard any. How you say, Dutch song?
A Dutch song? You don't want to hear that. They are the worst.
Worse than German?
Close.
Just sing some Phoenix. That'll be good. Little Gojira, maybe.
Maybe better than me talking. Not that many people today. And where is Bertrand? Where is Daniel?
Yeah, he's on a plane back to Sweden.
Okay, I'll start with the status. 3 minutes. Status. Where is what I want? I will open a new one. What is the commit here? Oh, okay. So 7 days ago. Here. Work on the machine name provider, and I assume this has been merged. Clean up. Recipe execution time, I think it has been merged too. We'll see. Improved asset manifest, file change and link. Yes, so now, improvement on how we detect when the asset manifest has changed, so that the gulp file is rebuilt, or the task of the gulp file is restarted. Default message bus, I saw it. What was it? Yeah, so using the new thing. This was just used in the log. Can I assume that get host name returns the process ID too?
Yeah, same thing.
Good, thank you.
Welcome.
Implementing. Oh, this one is awesome. Imagine. So let me show you. This is something that was a to-do for 5 years, and I did it because I was blocked on it. I have an example for that. This will be part of the demo, but because I'm doing the... Well, I do it during the demo. The idea
is it in the main repo?
Yes.
Oh, okay, so I can pull that. Okay.
You want that?
I'm gonna pull it. I'll pull it now. Thanks.
So I created a high positioned interface so that you have a position, and it's used by shapes. Okay, and shapes have positions in their metadata. But I did that because this way I can create a position wrapper, which is also high positioned, and also HTML. The idea being we can represent some HTML string which has a position in a zone. So if you take a zone shape, you can put shapes inside, and when we render the zone, we will order all the shapes by their position. But in a zone, you could also put some HTML strings, and these ones will always be at the end or at the beginning. There will be no order for the strings, but the order they were injected. So you could have a zone with just strings, and the order could be kept, but in the order it was injected. So now you can inject something that will be positioned and HTML string, and this is automatically handled here when where is that? Shapes. Here you see to do. This is temporary implementation. So when we add to a zone or to any shape some HTML string or some string, before it was just added as is, now it's creating a position wrapper of this thing with the position you call the method to. So it's on the add method of a shape, you can optionally pass a position, and now it will be taken into account if you have HTML string. And I will show you why I did that. It was a limitation since day one. I also removed this code which was never used. So good. I don't know which branch it is. I think 19x. Prevent media library pop-up without permission. Is that me? Yes, that's me. Oh yes, that's also very good. It happens that if you don't have the manage media content permission, now it's not rendering the media icon in the body. Otherwise, you will see the media icon in the body or in the Markdown editor or in the body editor. And oh, actually, did I just do that for the Markdown and not the TinyMC? I have to check for TinyMC. So it's just rendering the button if you have access to media library. Just a small thing, but better. Hide taxonomy link if permission is not granted. So same thing here. There were some links. So if you edit a taxonomy field, there is a link to let you edit the terms if you want to. But if you click the link and you don't have access to the taxonomies, you get an access denied. So I just hide the link if you don't have the permission.
About the previous change, does it mean that you can't even insert media?
Nope.
If you don't have that permission?
You will be able to add URL-based images. Oh yes, I see. Yes, you can.
It doesn't look right.
Wait for the next one that you have seen on Friday.
Okay.
And yeah. But yes, it doesn't look right. I agree. Yeah, but yeah, this has to be changed to the other one, and then it will be right. You will see. That's good. Please ask again the question, and I might have to fix something here, but that will work. So this one was just hiding a link. Add setting to hide container editor. Another setting here, the idea is that if you have a container, there are two settings for the containers, and it's also a nice reminder of what we can do. There are type settings and type part settings. There are part settings and type part settings. The part setting is the setting that you define at the part level for all their usages, for all the types where the part is used. And there are also type part settings where you can customize, where you can define settings per type and part. Okay, so whenever a part is assigned to a type, it will have its own settings. So there are two levels. In this case, what I added is a way in the type part settings to display or not the container settings on the content item itself. So you can define defaults in the type part settings, like the number of items per page, do you want to order things or not, some things like that. These settings would also appear when you edit the content item, the containable, the container item also. And I just added a setting in the part setting if you don't want to display, to let the user change the settings and just use the defaults that as an admin have defined. That's just it. You see, if you don't want to show the container editor, then yeah, don't show it. That's just some little improvement. This one, filter for own content. Oh, this is a part of the demo, so let me show you what it does. So this is new. The idea is that when you go to content, this is admin, so this is not very interesting, but the idea is that when you go to content, you see everything, okay, from everyone. But now you can filter by owned by me, and you see less thing. So this might be useful when you want to manage your own content and there are many people implied in the content management. So this thing is very simple to do. Just a new option in the NM and add a new filter on the command part record. Very easy. Questions on this one? You might ask why there. So my only frustration right now is that we could want to say owned by me and published or latest or whatever, so combine those filters. It's more a UI issue I had here because we have already many things and I didn't want to add another checkbox to say owned by me plus this one. So I think this is fine so far, but in theory we could have the two of them, owned by me and unpublished, for instance. Feel free to comment. I don't think anyone is writing on the chat. So this is just an optimization on the calls because we were always loading the containers at some point, but we can just say, oh, only load them if we can show the picker. That's something very simple. Pull request from Matthew, which is the improvement on the, well, fixing first the name of the text for the restore placement. And actually there are two commits. It's actually adding, I don't know which change set it is, but it's actually adding a new, this is the wrong commit. This is actually adding a new item prop, a new data prop. Where is that? This pull request contains two commits. Yeah, this one. Where is the usage? Here. Okay, this is a good one. So it's still remove URL in item prop to transform the link into a button, into a submit. No, it's to display a confirm dialog box. And now you can define what is the message for the dialog box with the data message. Are you sure you want to restore these placements? Okay. Before it will take the default message, which was, are you sure you want to delete this item? Now you can override the message for request. Sipke here change a namespace because no more task list. It's something in the framework. Okay, good. This is merging the new machine name provider and the implementation for Azure. Should we ask people to squash all their changes in the pull request? See this one? 4 commits for actually a single change with the wrong thing and the updating things. Some repositories.
I don't know.
Sometimes it makes sense.
Sometimes, like if I saw like maybe like 50 commits or something, I don't know.
So for instance, the MVC team, they will squash it for you and push it, and it's a pain.
They'll squash it for you. It's very kind of them.
Yeah, I shared the script that we used in Codeplex for that. Daniel, change field drivers to not export empty elements. So yeah, so if the field is empty, the export won't get an empty tag. It will export nothing. Just improving the layout of the export file. And this one, apparently a bug. Incorrect export condition in link field with ORs. Okay. Oh yeah, right. That's wrong. If there is at least one value, export something. Ooh, bad bug. Just in dev because he's lazy. You don't want to put it in 19x. Sipke, I assume you are both working with dev branch and not the 19x branch, even in prod.
Yeah, we are.
That's why all your commits go into dev.
Yep.
Comment service now fetches latest instead of published when deleting a comment. Okay, makes sense. Little fix from Michael Yates. Fix build error. Okay. Okay. Improving gulp file. Fix null ref exception in comments part driver. Okay, that could happen. So I took the fix. It was a pull request on 19x. revert using master content item to create. Oh yeah, this one yesterday. So remember a year ago when our loved Nick improved the localization. Since then, when you translate a content item, the new item, which is a translation, will be edited empty. So you don't know what you are translating. You have to open a new window to see the other content, which was not the case before. It was initialized with the current content for the new translation. Yeah, so we fixed it by model binding the master content item instead of the new content item instead. It was an easy fix. And now you could see everything in the new content item because the editor was bound with the master content item. But the issue with that is the view will not render the drop down for the culture selection. So you will create it will still be in 19x, okay, so not deployed. But so if you create a new translation, you will see the content from the master content item, but also the selected culture. You could not change the selected culture. So and I don't like the two pull requests which are fixing it by using some session data, time data to say, oh, I'm just translating, so change how it behaves.
Yeah, that didn't really make any sense to me. Like, I had a lot of people using this code, so I'm not really too sure. So
I reverted my change. So to put it back like you did, which is it's blank, but it works. So you have to open a new window to if you want to see what you have to translate. And I explained in the pull request and in the issue what the actual solution is. We need new events. We need to use some kind of cloning, but a cloning which will not save the data, which will give you a clone of the data in memory, and you don't have to save it in database. And at the same time, some events so that the localization part and the auto route part, when an object is cloned, could say, oh, you are cloning an auto route part, so let me give you a new URL or recalculate the slug for a new title. And same thing for the localization. Oh, you are cloning a localized something which has to be localized, so let me remove the culture, because when you clone something, it should not be with the same culture, maybe. I don't know. So we need events and cloning, and we need a clone which doesn't persist the thing. It's not that hard, but then only we can fix correctly the issue.
Okay, I understand.
Then I removed edit inline the checkbox. There was an issue saying, well, there were like 3 issues from Matthew Harris explaining that it didn't work, and Daniel commented also that it never actually worked. So he was okay with removing the feature. So I removed the feature.
Oh, weren't some people using this?
There are lots of bugs, and
I can't imagine that anyone will be successfully using it.
I tried, it didn't work. I saw the toolbar and I was like, well.
Yeah, it only works for HTML elements anyway.
Okay. But still.
Yeah, I tried using it, but after about an hour, I gave up.
So I removed it. That's a breaking change, removing a non-working feature. So I removed it. And honestly, I could not stand the dependency on TinyMC from the layout. I still think we have a dependency, but at least the feature is not there, so people won't complain about it. At least 2 issues from there. Fixing unit test. Yeah.
Wait, so that removed the dependency on TinyMC from the layouts module?
I haven't removed it. I didn't think about it, but there should not be. Well, there might still be a dependency because there is an element using it. But the layout editor itself
is using the flavor system.
Okay.
So there should be no dependency on TinyMC anymore.
Okay, let's try that then.
Awesome, that would be great.
Why? Dependencies are awesome.
No, I mean the TinyMC one, because we use CK editor.
Yes, yeah. This is why yeah. And you could now also maybe use Markdown. We'll see.
Yeah.
Well, no, you don't want any dependency. That's it. So fixing unit test. Yes. Oh yes, because I removed the property named zones in the shape, So now it doesn't export anymore. So I need to fix the unit test. Pull request from these are the pull requests we already talked about earlier commits. Manage layout permission. I will show you. I will show you why. The idea was that anyone could manage layouts and master layouts. So I have added a permission for that. This I will show you. Merges. I updated the WebPI package files. You should not care. These files are used from the Azure portal and from Webmatrix to drive the setup of Orchard in these environments. And the Azure team asked me to change some things so that it works with the new Azure portal modifications and SQL Azure. It won't change anything on Webmatrix, it will just make it work on Azure now. Nothing interesting. I just followed what they asked me and I need to try that. And then, well, it's still a pull request actually that we need to merge. Yes, and then merge the one line next into dev and try to fix the merge conflicts. I think it's okay. I tried to set up and it worked. And also the new features and it worked too. Okay, questions on the changes? I have more commits than Sipke. First time ever for the last 2 years. Something like this. Sipke, what happened last week?
I've been working on something else interesting, but that's not Orchard. It's
what?
Not Orchard.
What?
Well, it's Orchard, but not for the Orchard core, unfortunately.
Okay.
It might be open source by Beat Gaming, but we'll have to discuss the details. But it's pretty cool. It's basically syscas distributed version, so not a shared cache, but syscas local on each node. But as soon as one cache entry gets invalidated, it uses a message bus system to invalidate other entries. So you get the performance of syscas, and it works in a distributed environment, web farm scenarios.
Yeah, it will never go in core.
Exactly.
it cannot work.
It works nicely so far in my.
Okay, let's see how many people find bugs with that and complain that. I wanted to tweet this morning because Sipke helped someone on the forum, and that was there were two different messages about that. So Sipke helped someone because they had connection issues, like could not create more connections and everything.
Oh, is that the topic with the unstable Orchard?
Yes, unstable Orchard, too many connections and whatever. And he's saying, I invested a lot in Orchard and it's not stable. First reflex from Sipke was, where is your code? Oh, our code is just creating connections. Okay, you see the issue then. Don't create connections. That was interesting. So this was first comment. When it doesn't work, usually, you never know what people do with that, and it cannot work. It cannot work sometimes. So we'll see, Sipke, when you release your module, how it works in other environments. And the second comment I wanted to talk about, very interesting. Where was that? Was it a tweet or a message on? I don't know. Maybe the forum still. There was an artist, a poet and musician and photographer who made a website with Orchard. I was like, oh my god, it's already hard for us web developers to make a site with Orchard. When an artist tries to use Orchard, I don't know what
Oh, is that the poem website? Yeah.
So crazy guys.
Yeah, people are getting there.
Courageous. Done with the comments. Sorry. Demos. Gustavo, are you ready for Identity Server?
Yeah, sure.
Go. I leave you the lead. And
I can't present.
Yes. Give control. No.
Oh no, wait! I don't want control of your desktop. Say no.
Where are you? Here. Go.
Okay. All right. Let me know if people can see it. There we go.
I'm recording, so I need to wait.
Okay.
Go.
You guys are? All right, great. So, if you can see my screen right now, I have a tenant running This is all running on my local tenant running under and the root right here running. So when I log in, we're using ThinkTexture Identity Server, the self-host, and this is basically our module that I kind of took out all of our custom implementation and made it as generic as I possibly could. The Identity Server module itself has the ability to add clients, and the client is someone that can actually authenticate against the Identity Server, and what that looks like is this, where you're authenticating and you're using the users that are on the root client. So for example, I have 2 users here installed. So one's admin, one's test, so now I can log in as test. And this will redirect me back to the tenant. The test is an admin, so now that I'm logged into the tenant, you can see that I have another user on this tenant that the tenant doesn't have the admin or the test account, yet I was still able to log in with the admin credentials, and that's because of the claims that are assigned. So here you can see all the roles that are assigned to the test account that's logged in. And this is a full-on identity provider. So we can have mobile apps that are authenticating against the Orchard user database, so the user repository. And the way we built that out was, here are the 2 modules. We have the Identity Server module, which runs the IDP, the identity provider, and that's what handles the login and log out functionality. So here I'm logged out, and I return back to the tenant. And then we have the client module, which is what Orchard, that's what overrides the authentication service. So this will actually, here you go. Here's your authorization, get authenticated user. We're using OWYN to do that. Here's your startup using OpenID Connect. This is for the, if there's any questions, please go ahead and stop me. This is using the hybrid flow for OpenID Connect. You can configure this to use hybrid, implicit, pretty much whatever is supported out of the box from ThinkTexture Identity Server. But yeah, I mean, it's super simple and pretty complex at the same time, unfortunately. Right now, we have a dependency on the server where if you want to run the server, the client needs to be running. That way, when the server starts up, it automatically switches over to the client, and you can log in, and your your session is maintained. But yeah, I mean, do you guys have any questions on that?
Yeah, I have a question. Can you use this identity client as a generic OAuth client? So could you use it to authenticate against any other open authentication providers?
So Identity Server supports external, and that's
okay.
Right. So with in here, we just have it configured, and it actually overrode the views, or I say I, but we overrode the view service. So I actually took out the external authentication. It's over here.
So it could forward the authentication to Google?
Yep, exactly. So external providers, and that's all configured in startup. So you can say we want to allow for Google for the external provider, or Facebook or Twitter, etc. And that's all configured through Identity Server.
Right, of course.
And is it completely autonomous, or do you need to run a service?
So this is actually running within Orchard as a module.
So the server module is the service itself in Orchard in a tenant. Okay.
Exactly.
So just to rephrase, so that I and everyone understands what is here. So authentication, you are trying to fix single sign-on, meaning multiple tenants share the same user base.
Correct.
Okay? And at the same time, what you can do with that is when you log in inside a tenant, you go inside another tenant, it already knows you. There are 2 different things, I think. Okay, that you can share users across tenants. You have only one place to manage them. This is the default tenant, or any tenant actually, because I assume that your client can connect to any tenant or could connect to any other tenant to tell it where the user base is. So single sign-on, and also it could support external providers like Facebook, GitHub, Google, Microsoft, so that your tenants could authenticate using these external providers, and your main tenant will proxy.
So how would that work with, the iUser, which is a content item? If you authenticate against a Facebook provider, for example, then you use Facebook credentials. Then some cookie gets set. What happens if you request the current user?
Yeah, it would have to create an account and associate that with.
Okay, so that's what that happens on the fly when, during authentication.
Our module doesn't support external and automated account creation in that sense. So, but I was looking at the one that Sebastian was working on, where it was, or I guess it was you guys, right? That were doing the external. It was only for external authentication. So Orchard itself would not be an authentication provider. But it would support authentication from Facebook, etc.
Nick made the open authentication module.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
And I'm personally using it for weblogs ASP.NET and also an internal site in Microsoft. And yeah, the idea is that whenever you use an external source, but even in your case, it's an external source. It's just the external is in another tenant. So the same thing. So whenever you log, it creates a local user account, and with all the information necessary to know what is the source of this user account, if you want.
Right. So we are actually not creating an account in the tenant. I don't know if you.
You are okay. I thought you were okay.
No. So what we're doing on the tenant. So if I go to the tenant/admin, here you'll see under users, I don't have the test account that I signed in with or the admin account. This is actually pulling it's creating an instance in the lifetime scope of the iMembership provider from the default tenant. Does that make sense? You follow that?
So the default tenant is the relay service, is it?
Yeah, well, the default tenant is acting as the membership provider for all other tenants, basically. It's for our identity providers, all pulling from one tenant. The default.
So where do you store your users? Sorry.
In the main. So okay, let's talk about default tenant.
Yeah. So here's the default tenant. Here are the two users, and it'll actually make more sense about.
And there are content items in the default tenant.
Yes. So and in the default tenant services.
And they have user passwords in the default tenant.
The passwords are in the default tenant, yeah. But I mean, you can override that to pull the password from like a separate. So for example, we're pulling the password from Active Directory and the user account from Active Directory, and then automatically creating that. And so it authenticates against Active Directory, but that's just part of the override.
So the client iMembership provider from a client tenant doesn't have any data. It just do some REST calls to the identity server default tenant to get the list of users.
Yeah, they're not even REST calls. So this is all on the server side. The server side is actually creating an instance of the default tenant membership service. Here's context.
So you're not using any HTTP calls for that. You're just creating a context that connects with the default tenant. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Exactly. So while this may not be a use case for everybody, for us, and the real benefit here is not only tenants being clients here, but also like mobile apps. So if we want OAuth, like a mobile app, to use our same website domain credentials, then this supports that. So like, let's say you come out with an iOS app and you want people to be able to log in with your own website's username and password, this is what that is enabling.
How open source is it?
Right now, not. I'm going to have to actually talk to because.
Well, I mean your stuff and identity server stuff.
Well, identity server stuff is all open source, so it's on GitHub. I forget what the license was, but I can pull it up.
This is important.
Yeah. Identity server 3. Here's the GitHub, and let me pull it up for you.
I'm also looking.
Oh,
Apache 2.
Oh, you found Apache too?
Yeah, Apache 2. I think it's good, but I will confirm. Just in case we want to host the same logic, server side and client side.
Yeah, and you can, I mean, the beauty of Identity Server is like it's totally customizable. So here we're customizing the user service, the view service to show different views instead of the default Identity Server views. And, you know, like we also, this Identity Server has like Entity Framework plugins built like that are part of it. That's what we're using. We're using the Entity Framework plugin instead of using in-memory for clients. So basically, if the server restarts or anything like that, it pulls those clients out of the database, the valid clients. So if, for example, I change this for any reason, I say, and I remove this, redirect URIs. So, oh. Oh. All right, well, there's a bug.
Yeah, Antoine is all right. I will talk with the.
No, it's fixed. It was just the extra line. I need to trim white space. But so now that that's removed, if I sign out, yes, log out everywhere, that message was different. But now I go back to the client to try to log in, the tenant won't be authorized. So the reason this is important is because we're using Entity Framework and it's pulling it from the database instead of doing it in memory. If we were going to use the default settings for Identity Server and have it use the in-memory store, what happens is on startup, it loads the clients from the config clients right here. So you would have to do a code change here to allow new clients to be able to authenticate. And this enables you to be able to add clients on the fly without having to do any deployments or anything like that.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, that's it.
Awesome. So I will follow up because we need something like this. You saw I wanted to work on the OWIN providers to provide everything, and if Identity Server is helping on that, then that's just goodness.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And we can actually talk about it more in depth at Harvest.
Yeah, Nick, I give you a week to integrate it.
You gave me 3 hours to integrate something else this afternoon.
Yes, can't you take some vacation?
I can't.
You intend to buy a Tesla. Don't buy a Tesla. Take the money and work for Orchard.
I he already bought the Tesla.
Buy a Tesla, man.
He already bought a Tesla?
Yeah, it arrives at the end of October.
God, those contractors. Thank you, Orchard.
Yeah.
Orchard bought you a Tesla. I hope. Okay, good. Thank you, Gustavo. Yeah, that's great. Are there some questions to Gustavo about it from anyone?
It's interesting to see. I want to understand better why we're storing users in the default tenant and not spread across. So the reason why my stuff was done so that you had local users is so that you had the option of saying, well, this user can log into this site using the using Google.
He's creating the accounts just on one tenant, the default tenant.
Yeah, but if you reset your password on one tenant on one place, then it resets it across everywhere.
Yes.
Which may not
Same
be
thing, right? So if you reset your password in Twitter, everywhere where you're logging in with Twitter, it's your Twitter session, right? So it's that Twitter password.
Yeah, true. I guess it turns everything into single sign-on. So the use case I was kind of catering for was that you might want to use your Google account to sign in to everywhere, but your local password might be different per site.
Even on the single.
Not only that, every tenant could have maybe a different user profile. For example, on Orchard Pros, we support Facebook authentication and Google. So you use those credentials to log in. But we have user accounts in the Orchard database, so we can store additional data.
Yeah, maybe should be options.
Right. And that is kind of where the caveat lies with single sign-on using one repository for everything. Because if you do have a tenant and the tenant has different roles, for example, than the main site, and you need to respect those roles on the tenant, then you're going to have to, I mean, it's totally doable because you can basically have it compile all the roles for the user by having it at the time of login pull those roles from all the tenants that the user is able to access. It would be complex and every login would take a while, but at the same time, you're building in security there too, right? Because you're preventing brute force attacks. If every login takes 2 or 3 seconds, because it's got to build out those roles from the other tenants to kind of unify them, then yeah, you could do that. And it's totally doable in that sense. We just did not implement that.
That's cool.
One of the things, as far as security, I've been hearing about is, does any of this support two-factor authentication?
I don't know if this is basically using ThinkTexture's Identity Server self-host client. If Identity Server 3 supports two-factor, then I'm going to go ahead and say yes, but I'm not sure if it does or not.
At least you can use external providers. If you can use external providers like Twitter, Google, so on, and it's enabled on your account, then it will work.
Right.
But yeah, if as an identity provider, if identity server, I'm sure we will support that. Even ASP.NET supports that. So.
Yeah, it may.
But that would be also great, a great addition actually, so that Orchard itself as an identity provider could support two-factor auth.
Right, and for that, don't you need to also have like a third party, like an SMS service?
Yes, there are so many ways to provide the second factor.
Right.
So then we need extensibility also at this level.
Yeah. But that would be awesome. That'd be great too for
it could
also
be
our membership.
custom apps, SMS, go on a website, send an email. It could be so many things.
So the only other thing that I didn't mention was that there's also in the modules I added a feature for this, which was multi-tenancy, which means and what this module does, this feature does, is it basically whenever you create a new tenant, it automatically adds the record for the redirect URIs for that tenant, so that tenant is able to log in, and it automatically enables the client module.
For the reasons you said, okay.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, now.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
My turn. Does anyone has any demo to do? Sipke obviously not, because you are working. Okay, so I will show you some updates on the gallery and the improvements I had to do to Orchard to support that. Once I can share, let me know when you can see.
Yep, I can see.
I can too.
Yay.
So this is the current status of the gallery. Default homepage, you know this page, it will be customized with whatever the gallery has. But there are 2 links here for listing modules. I imported all the data from the old gallery. Modules and themes. Everything is here. It's missing screenshots, but I will show you. When you click on a module, this one, you can see the tags, the versions, download counts, everything. You can download the package directly. You have search, let's say authentication. You see the modules. Hey Nick.
Yay, I'm still there, man.
And you even have your Gravatar. Beautiful.
Yeah.
All the versions. You can click on the version, and the version will show you if there is the changelog of the version. Don't know the specific version or the main one, whatever. So this is just the front end. And now when you want to manage your packages and package versions, so a package is just the registration of your module. And the package version is the actual NuGet package and changelog information, the version thing. So when you want to manage it, I had 2 solutions. Either on the front end and have forms and everything on the front end, so the custom controllers, or leverage what Orchard does with the dashboard and content management. So as an exercise, I try to use the dashboard with the goal that in the end, whenever someone wants to do the same thing, it's less work to do than creating all the controllers. It's just a choice, but I wanted to push the concept everywhere to the maximum. If you have questions, no, not about. So I'm logged here as the admin, okay? So I have all the rights. I'm the site owner. I can see everything, and this is obviously what you don't want, or what I don't want to have on the gallery, because I don't want people to mess up with the gallery website and do everything from everyone. So what I did is I created user accounts for contributor roles. So I have myself. This is my actual gallery account, Sebastian Ross. Okay, and because I imported everything, it's also importing the passwords and so on. Don't worry, I can't mess up with that. Just hashed and everything. So here, the first change I did was to add the layout permission, so that I could remove the manage layout permission from contributors. Otherwise, if you go in the current status of Orchard to a website with contributor role, you will see manage layouts. So you could see all the layouts and change the content, everything. So that's not what I wanted. So first, layouts has been removed. Second thing I did, and I showed you, is owned by me, so that I can just see the packages I own, okay, and know the packages from everyone. Because of security, even if someone tries, or myself try to change the package from someone else, it will block me. Okay, it will say, no, you don't have the rights to change this package, you don't own it, because the permission is just manage package you own, okay, not for others. So that's fine. This was fine. The main constraint that I found was on media. The issue with media management in a multi-user solution like this is that when you go to media, you see all the medias, and you see the medias for everyone. So you could mess up with everyone's media. So if I push my screenshots for my package, someone else could remove them, change them, and break everything. So what I implemented is, now when you go to media, you can see that this guy, Sebastian Ross, has images too, and some images in the bitmaps folder. Well, sorry, in the images 2 folder. And I also have the recent images here. And if I log with another account and I go to media, I see something else. I don't have folders here, and I still have media, and I can still edit them and whatever I want, and import media. So if I import whatever, I could copy paste thing, it will go into this folder. And it
How did you get that image up there without having a folder? Can you import folders, files without?
I will show you. It's a trick.
Ah.
It's kind of a glitch, but not really. I will show you. So this is from the users, okay? And if you look at the folder path here, it's users /user1, because I'm user1. And if I go to this one, it's users Sebastian Ross image 2. Okay, so it's actually some folder called users. And if I go with the admin account, you can see the users folder, Sebastian Ross and users. So when you're admin, you can see the content items, the media for everyone. But because you have the manage media content permission. But now there is a new permission, which is manage own media, which lets you only manage your media. And when you have this permission and not the manage media content, then it will force the UI and the controllers to only work with a folder named users, your username. And if you try to edit, to do anything outside of this folder, it will prevent you from doing that. So how
Is that in core?
19x, sorry?
Yeah, okay, cool.
This was the question, yeah. So now, how did Sipke saw that I didn't have a folder and I had something? The idea is that, well, how did I do that? Is just, it's a glitch that could be made for everyone. I went from the admin on user 1 and I pushed an image at this top level. Okay, that's if you are the user, you will need
and
to
it's a
create a
recent
folder.
image.
Yeah, because there is no such thing as the root folder in the UI. But technically, it's totally doable. In this case, I can see the root folder is user 1, so I can put something here. And same thing on Sebastian, I can go to bitmaps and import an image, whatever, and it will work. Okay. And nothing is hidden. So when you go there and you say create folder, you see it's showing it's users user 1. So there is no magic here. It's really users user 1. It's just security boundaries. So if you try to change it this way, let me show you. If I try to go hack and say no, I want to go to users directly, poof, it sees that you don't have access to that and it redirects you to the root of your folder. So you can't mess up with that. I also fixed a bunch of permissions issue, by the way. So you see now I have my images, and if I go from the admin, the user also has images. Okay, and this should work still. I haven't tried it for a long time. Oh, now it's in images. You see, fixed it. And recent also works. Recent should work. Why doesn't it work here? Or maybe a bug. But it works also for users, because it's also filtering based on the user. You see, recent, boom, just for you, not for the others. So I checked everything in terms of permission, and that works. So that's it. So Nick should be happy because he requested it like a year or 2 years ago, and we said, you don't understand media management, Nick. What are you talking about?
Yeah, you did pop me off actually.
Yes, but I was sure you meant like from the front end, how to prevent someone from the front end to access a media. And I said, no, we don't want to do that. And actually it was from the back end. And it makes sense in the back end. I don't want my users to mess up with to mess up to others, to each other's content. So,
yep.
So and now it makes sense. And I close the issue. And yeah, it allows different users to access the dashboard now, and it's safe. You can't mess up with people's content. Okay.
On the front end, when you're rendering that link, does it expose the username basically?
Yes.
Okay.
It's a physical folder that you access. It's
Gotcha.
your folder. I don't think it's an issue because you can still get it from other ways, like the owner, the command part .owner that can be displayed anywhere. You can still, I'm sure in some routes, check for the username and it will not return a 404, but something like you don't have access to this user. So the username is not private in this case.
Right. No, well, I'm thinking on the front end. So, like, let's say you have a media item that's just in an image tag that's embedded in the user.
It will be embedded.
Huh. Okay.
And there is no extension point to make it customized, like how to render this folder. That could be, but today I'm just using username technically, because I know it's unique, because I know it's compatible with the folder names. And
how does that work with media profiles?
Media profiles require the manage media content. It will still work, but you can only create profiles if you are the site owner.
Right. And then caching, like for example, a thumbnail version.
Still the same thing. It's like in user media. It's just we just restrict where you can put your media.
Awesome. Okay.
But everything else works. And I also I was driven by two reasons to make this feature. The first I was like, okay, because we are missing that, I could not do it in the dashboard. So I started implementing the gallery on the front end. And then I got another big customer that actually could not use the media because of this feature. The other big customer is the Azure Blogs. So the Azure blog is on Orchard now, and there are like 50 different bloggers who share the same blog. And they don't have access to the media feature in Orchard. I was like, what? Yes, because they could mess up with each other's blogs or blog posts. So like, oh, I want to crop this picture, and he crops the picture, but it's actually used by other blog posts, so he will mess up with the blog post. So they can't use the media. So when I saw that, I was okay. We really need to have this feature in Orchard. So this way, done. Questions? Oh, identity server. Okay. That's it on my side. Did I oh, I wanted to show you how to use the placement info, the new placement, sorry, in the with the position and the string. Let me
Hey,
show you.
Josh asked in the feed about uploading these videos to YouTube.
Which videos?
These recordings.
Yes, usually Benedek does that.
Yeah.
But he's been off for many weeks. So I have the videos, but they are not yet published. I will ping him to see if I should do that myself and how to access the YouTube account. Usually Benedek did that. And even when I was backing him up, I will give him the video and he will compact it and push it. So I haven't heard from him for a long time. He will be in Harvest, at least I will be able to catch up with him there, but yeah, I will see if I can give him the videos or if I have to push it myself. I have the videos. So let me see, where do I use this thing? In a theme? Crap. I know how you use it, so I will be able to find it. Ctrl+Shift+F, capture in the current project. What? I'm using it in navigation. Yeah, so let me explain you how I'm using it. So the idea is that, you know, the using script.capture, no, the using capture, is it capture? Capture, and here you can crap, you can do something like div blah blah blah, some HTML, and well, it doesn't work. You can do some HTML, and now you can do capture and the string and the position. So you can say what.
What do you use capture for again? I never used it myself.
Oh, it's awesome. So for two reasons. If you want to inject from any view in another zone, like in the footer and in the no, you have script.addFoot and script.addHead. They are internally using capture, so you can capture the rendering of some HTML and move it to another zone. So not where you are capturing it or rendering it, but somewhere else. And actually, what I wanted to show is something that you can do is layouts dot zones or layouts, for instance, navigation, which gives you the layouts navigation zone dot add, and now you can say foo 1.0. Before you could not do that. So now you can.
Yeah. So now you're adding a string at that position.
You do that, but you can also use capture if you don't want to render a string, but something which is inside Razor.
Oh, instead of having to create a shape first and then
For
adding
instance,
it to the
yes.
shape.
Yes. It's to inject a position string. That's the idea. I have an example. I can't find it. So sad. It's not here. This is beautiful. Very search form. No. Crap. Capture is awesome. I think it was to inject the search form in the navigation. So maybe it's here. Nope. Well, when I find it, can't remember. Sorry. Questions?
One question. Do you have a date for 110? Is it the 5th?
Oh, 110 I don't know. 192 I know. I want to freeze everything on 19X right now.
Okay. You mean Are you creating a
branch.
192
I will create
branch?
yes, a branch for that.
Okay.
And I fixed all the blocking issues for 192. I did that explicitly. Milestones 192. What? Oh, it's been fixed and oh, it's just not merged into. Oh, that has been merged into dev, so that should be closed, fixed, merged, and everything. So yeah, I fixed everything which was marked for 192 and validly marked for 192. So there is no more blocking issue on 192. I will still look at what Bertrand suggested. Questions? Good. Then see you on Tuesday. I will personally deploy 192 on some servers running applications and see how it goes. And if it goes well and nobody's complaining, then I will release 192. Okay?
Awesome.
Very cool.
Thank you guys.
Cool.
See you
Later.
Bye.